Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first video on my reasons why you should or shouldn't move to a certain city or state series. Before I begin, I want to give a huge shout out to World According to Briggs, Nick Johnson, and 601 Travels. Those three channels were the biggest inspirations for me to make videos and a series such as this one. And I highly recommend that you check out their channels as well. In fact, I'll leave links for their channels in the description below. For this video and series, I will be listing down reasons why you should or shouldn't move to a certain city or state based on my personal experience when I visited that city or state, as well as things I found out when I researched that city or state. The city or state in question is Fresno, California. Fresno is a city situated in the heart of California, about 3 hours south of San Francisco and 2 to 3 hours north of Los Angeles. I visited Fresno back in 2019 for training. I was training for a volunteer youth camp that took place east of Fresno in Dunlap, California. The place where I volunteered at for the camp was pretty nice. In fact, the area around that place was nice. The church where I had my training in Fresno, which is the one you see right here, was also pretty nice. In fact, Fresno has a lot of nice churches, including the one you see here and this Orthodox church you see here. Yeah, Fresno's got a lot of nice churches both in downtown and on the outskirts of town. As a matter of fact, what's on the outside of town on the outskirts is the only thing nice about the city, as well as the churches. What's on the inside of town, that is downtown, excluding the churches, is the exact opposite of nice. In fact, Fresno's not the type of city you would want to visit, and definitely not the type of city you'd want to live in. In fact, World According to Briggs once said that Fresno is not the type of city people choose to move to. It's more of like the city that they land in. Like they don't have a choice, they got stuck there, or maybe their car broke down, or maybe they couldn't find a job anywhere else. You might be one of those people who are planning to move to Fresno, and I could totally understand it. Like maybe you want to escape the crowded cities, or maybe you just don't want to move there but have to because you found a job there, or maybe because of family reasons. I could totally understand that. But before you move, you should watch my 5 reasons why you shouldn't move to Fresno, California. Number 5, median income and poverty. Now, this one actually caught me by surprise because even though I was in Fresno only for 3 days, including the day in which I arrived to Fresno and departed from the city, I did not see a lot of indicators of poverty, homelessness, or low income, or anything of the such during my stay in Fresno. And yes, just so you know, I have been outside of the hotel in which I stayed, which is close to the airport. I have been to a few restaurants by the airport, plus downtown Fresno and an outdoor shopping center in the Fresno area during my stay there. And I did not see a lot of signs of homelessness, poverty, or low income. However, when I went to census.gov and did some research, I did find out that the poverty rate and median household income in Fresno were actually quite big and were a problem. The poverty rate in Fresno is 21.3%, which is 10% higher than the national average, while the median household income in Fresno is $51,261, which is $10,000 less than the national average. Now, I understand that these things were kind of surprising for me because I didn't really witness this in Fresno. I actually thought the exact opposite when I was there, but I honestly don't think I should be surprised about this because there may be things contributing to the low income and the poverty rate in Fresno, mainly probably where it's located. I mean, Fresno is a very isolated city. Like I said, it's about 3 hours south of San Francisco and 2 to 3 hours north of Los Angeles. And the fact that not a lot of companies are actually based in Fresno. Not a lot of companies have their headquarters there or have a major corporate office in Fresno. Number 4, crime. If you care about the safety and well-being of yourself and your family, then reconsider moving to Fresno, California, because the crime rate of the city shows that the city is anything but the city for families based on crime and safety. Fresno is not only more dangerous than other cities in the state of California, but also other cities across the nation. Fresno ranks number 8 in terms of crime across the nation and is only safer than 8% of the cities in the United States, making it sort of the Flint, Michigan of California. Additionally, the property crime rate in Fresno is much higher than the rest of the state of California, where the chances of being a victim of property crime in Fresno is 1 out of 29, compared to the rest of the state of California, where the chances of becoming a victim of property crime is 1 out of 49. Fresno also has a problem in regards to murder, rape, armed robbery, other violent crimes, and even drug epidemics. In fact, if you go on YouTube and type in Fresno, the very first video that will pop up is the video that shows how drug addiction and drug abuse is plaguing the city of Fresno. Now, I am aware of the fact that Fresno is very dangerous even before I did the research, because even though I only heard like one gunshot from miles away when I was in downtown Fresno exploring the city, I was aware even before I went to Fresno that Fresno is not that safe of a city and it has some problems, including crime. And that probably explains a lot as to why Fresno is ranked among one of the worst cities to live in the state of California, and probably in general. Additionally, Fresno also has crimes that are even heard of even where I live here in Oregon, where I'm miles and miles and miles away from Fresno. In December of 2019, I found in the trending section of YouTube that a teenager from Fresno, California, actually attempted to steal a plane from Fresno International Airport. Number 3, public transportation. If you rely on public transportation in your hometown for a daily commute to work, school, college, or anything of the such, you will not survive in Fresno, California if you move there still relying on public transportation. The public transportation in Fresno is not that good, in my opinion, and I've personally had a lot of experience with public transportation when I was in Fresno. I took the bus to and from the Actually, I only took the bus from the Mexican restaurant back to the hotel where I stayed at on the first day I arrived. I did take the bus to get to the church where I had training, and then back to the hotel again. And I even took the bus to and from the hotel when I was going to downtown Fresno to explore a bit, and it is not good. First of all, if you miss the bus in Fresno, when I used Google Maps to see when the next bus would come, it told me I had to wait 40 to 50 minutes for the next bus to arrive. And second of all, the type of fare that they use is it's just small tickets that you have to pay for pretty much every time you board the bus. Well, actually, you pay like $5 and it covers like a half a day pass when you board the bus. And I can't remember how much was for a day or for a month, but basically you would insert it and they would give it back to you, telling you how much you have left or if the ticket is fully used for your ride. Unlike, where I live, where we now use those tap cards that you could check and you could check the balance online, Fresno doesn't really have any of that. Also, I know that Fresno is no San Francisco, Los Angeles, Portland, Las Vegas, or any of the major cities where it would be common to have this, but the bus is the only form of public transportation in Fresno, California. There is no light rail, no metro, streetcar, or anything of the such in Fresno, California. Number 2, it's boring and depressing. Fresno is not the type of city you'd want to visit, let alone live in, if you're more into the places that have things to do, that have tourist attractions to go to, that have places to visit, that kind of stuff. Fresno's not one of those cities. In fact, when I explored downtown Fresno, even though there were nice things to see and nice shops to go to, a lot of it just wasn't making the city look very bright. In the buildings there, even though they had nice architecture and design, did not necessarily look like they were exactly up to date everything. They were all like buildings built in the 1920s and 30s, and I could understand that, but they didn't look like they were really renovated. I mean, they were renovating them when I got there, but they looked kind of like they were old and falling apart and that kind of thing. In some cases, completely abandoned. And throughout Fresno, you can find numerous 1 or 2 story buildings that are completely abandoned that nobody really, goes to. And on top of that, they had nice shops. They had this really nice shop where they sold goods from like Mexico, as well as relating to the country and a lot of Latin American countries. It was a very nice store. And I really wish I bought something from there when I was visiting Fresno. The only problem was this store was kind of consistently seen throughout Fresno. I mean, there was almost every store I came across that sold like specialty goods was that same type of store when I was exploring downtown Fresno. And in terms of stores, besides that store, the city doesn't have that many like stores. And I know or places like where you would find businesses. Now, I know we're living in an era where almost everyone buys their items online or only goes to certain types of, like, stores like H&M and that kind of stuff. But when I was exploring downtown Fresno, I saw a lot, and I mean a lot of places where potential businesses could be, potential restaurants and that kind of stuff. And almost all of them were gated up and pretty much empty, showing like no signs of potential for business there. This and the decaying infrastructure, as well as some of the other places I went to, such as the park, were actually quite depressing and didn't really make Fresno look like the type of city you'd want to live in or even visit. And number one, it's very hot and dry there, particularly during the summer. Now, I know this only applies for the summer months, which is the only time I ever visited Fresno, never visited for the other seasons, and I'm aware of the fact that the weather might change or might be different during the other seasons, but yeah, when I was there during the summer, it was so hot and very dry there. Like, the streets I walked on felt very dry, just even the ground where there was grass and trees, the places I was at were very dry. In fact, this fountain you see right here, this water fountain you see in this photo right here, was completely dried out. And the same with this one here in the fountain in the park right in front of the courthouse. It was very hot and dry there that when I finished exploring downtown Fresno, I immediately went to the nearest bus stop that had a bus that could take me back to the hotel. And I was really looking forward to getting back to my hotel in Fresno because the heat there was just, unbearable. And at least, and considering the fact that it was in a city that was didn't have the same thing to offer like Los Angeles, Las Vegas, or any of the other hot cities that are fun to live in, visit, and have much to offer for people who are living there or visiting there. The fact that Fresno didn't have much to offer, that it wasn't like Los Angeles, and the fact that it was very hot begs the question as to how can anyone survive here in Fresno with this heat and the lack of things to offer for people who are living here or visiting the city. Then begs the question, how can anyone survive in Fresno, California as like that? Well, folks, that concludes my 5 reasons not to move to Fresno, California video. I hope you all enjoyed this, and please feel free to leave a comment. Also, hit that subscribe button. Fresno, California was not a great city or experience in my opinion when I arrived there, but correct me if I'm wrong, I have seen that a lot of people are considering moving to Fresno, California, and I can understand that. A lot of people, I guess, are trying to escape the crowds, leave places that are crowded or have too much people like San Francisco or Los Angeles, and a lot of people who are relocating in the state of California are moving to Fresno, and I can understand that. But when taking into consideration crime, the fact that it's very hot during the summer, the poverty and income rate, as well as the other problems I mentioned in this video in regards to Fresno, it often begs the question, why don't people move to other cities that are less popular and less crowded than San Francisco? Like, maybe I haven't visited these cities, but maybe Santa Barbara, Santa Ana, Bakersfield, or maybe out of state like Reno, Nevada, or Medford, Oregon. It begs the question, why not move to those cities if you're trying to escape the crowd? I mean, in my opinion, those cities have some decent qualities when compared to Fresno. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and stay tuned. I might continue this series, I might not, who knows, but if you're ever interested, feel free to leave suggestions or what you thought about this video in the comments below.